Welcome to Story Chats at Inspy Romance. I'm Elizabeth Madry, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Narelle Atkins.
I'm Valerie Comer.
So today we're just talking about the CCR that we've been reading recently, just for fun. Narelle has two. I also have two. Valerie, how many do you have?
I have two and a bonus, but we can go with two.
Okay. Well, we'll see what
Cooney has not been reading, so she has.
Oh. Well, you can go first, and we can do your third at the end.
Yeah. Or not, but we can try that. Cooney's done. She's like out.
She's done, and it's so hot in this room today, people.
Oh.
It's so hot. So snuggling a fuzzball is not as fun as it is in winter. Let me put it that way.
Fair.
So the first book that I want to talk about today is a new to me author. Have you guys read anything by L.M. Karen?
No.
I read Summertime Lilies. Brittany is a single mom. She's a nurse at a cancer clinic. And so part of the story revolves around her cousin Lily, who comes in every Thursday for cancer treatment. So if that is going to be a trigger for you, this might not be your story. However, I thought it was really well done. Yeah. She's really instrumental in the story. It's not her romance. She's happily married. But she really helps Brittany to learn how and to understand how to live joyfully in the moment. And so that's a really pivotal part of it. Meanwhile, Matt is a middle school teacher, and he buys the house next door. Okay. And Brittany's son, Grady, who's 6 years old, befriends Matt. And Grady, being a wise 6-year-old, and they're almost as smart as when they were 5, I'm here to tell you, almost, understands like the problems that the adults in his life has, and he has the perfect solution, right? Matt needs a roommate. Mom needs a husband. Grady needs a dad. We can solve this, right?
I'm following the dots.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed, really a lot enjoyed this sweet, simple romance with the addition of the Lily storyline. So there is a trigger warning in there, but because that's not a trigger for me at this time, I thought it was beautifully woven in. And book 2 is on my Kindle. And that is not always the case with books that I come here and talk about, but I really, really enjoyed this one a lot.
Cool. Sounds good, but I can't do cancer books right now. So
no, I understand.
So no for me for right now, because I just can't do the cancer stuff. So
understood.
Yep. Narelle, you want to do next?
Well, I would read that book just to add in, particularly if Valerie's added the second book to her Kindle.
Right. Yeah, that's a big statement. That is a big endorsement.
It doesn't always happen. You guys can kind of read between the lines sometimes, listeners.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to talk about a book that has been mentioned on the podcast before, which is A Wide and Pleasant Place by Valerie Comer. So back in episode 88, Elizabeth talked about this book there. So go and check that episode out, because I'm not going to revisit everything we discussed in that episode for the background of the book. So don't miss out and go check it out. So this is book 1 in the Farm Fresh Market Romance series, and book 2 has recently released, which is why I put it aside, because I want to read book 2 and not. I'm one of those readers that likes to read books close together. Otherwise, I forget what's happened. So sometimes
you don't like to read them in order, though. So, well, anyway.
I am reading this series in order. You should be very proud of me.
I am so proud. I will, big gold stars.
Gold star. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So I really enjoyed this book. And so Brittany is one of the Santoros who we met in the Urban Farm Fresh series. And she's been kind of forced to go to Galena Landing in Idaho because of something that's happened in her personal life that interfered with her job when she was in Spokane. So if you've read the Urban Farm Fresh series, you'll probably have a bit of a clue to what I'm talking about. So she's here doing a marketing job working for the town, and the hero is Trey, and he's a single dad. And Beth was talking about this last time because Brittany has a background with relationships where she did end up getting involved with a married man. And that was something that Beth had mentioned that people might find to be a bit tricky. So that was in the back of my mind as I was reading it, but I actually didn't have a problem with that at all. It made perfect sense because the way Brittany, where her faith journey is, the way she thinks about relationships, she's actually in a lot of ways very contemporary to our culture in a lot of ways. So she's very much more living in the world as opposed to living in the church, if that makes a difference as well. And people often don't tell the truth in relationships. And I think she walked into a situation that someone my age would see a mile away is a massive red flag, but she's young and a bit naive. And so to me, that backstory was not a problem. It wasn't a road bump at all with this book. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. And she is also, her faith journey was really interesting because she's really written on the coattails of her family. So her nonna expects her to go to church. Her cousins who she's living with in Galena Landing expect her to go to church. And so she kind of goes to church because that's what you do. And she kind of believes because that's what everyone else does. And I really liked how that was challenged in the story as to, well, really, do you own your faith? And stuff's happened in the past. And so like God actually has an opinion on this. Like, do you care about what God thinks about what's going on and how that's actually affecting your faith? So if you like that kind of meatiness in the spiritual journey, you will always get that with Valerie, but you'll definitely get it in this book with this particular storyline. And then we have Trey, who is just adorable. And he's got a 5-year-old, surprise, surprise, Scarlett, who was also adorable. And the setting is we've got the farm fresh markets, and we've got this delightful character called Paula, who I love Paula as well. She was very sweet in this book. That's a meaningful character if you knew Paula, who it was based on as well. So I loved how she was included in this book. And basically, he's the town planner, so they're working together. So it's a forced proximity. They don't like each other initially. They have to share an office. So you've got all that kind of dynamics going on. But I really appreciated the way the child custody situation played out because he was really getting a raw deal from his ex. And that's not an exaggeration. She really wasn't making his life easy. And I think, I mean, I'll often say to my young adult children, the person you marry will make you or break you. And in this case, his ex has nearly broken him with the way that the arrangements are with his daughter and how all that works out. So I thought that was handled very sensitively as well. So I thoroughly enjoyed this book and I'm looking forward to reading in order book number 2.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Excellent. Excellent. All of that. I agree. It's such a good book. And book 2
Yes.
is fabulous. It's not on my list for today, but it deserves a mention.
It doesn't have to be.
It's really good. That is A Green and Vibrant Hope is the second one. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. So my first one is Blind Trust by Natalie Walters. It is romantic suspense. It is the 3rd in her Snap agency. I've talked about the first 2. I was looking forward to this as I really liked Garcia, who's the hero in the previous 2 books. Garcia was fantastic in the first 2 books, and he did not disappoint in this one. I will say going into this book, I did not like Lila. It was very clear through all the books that Lila and Garcia were to end up together. And I was sort of team anyone but Lila for quite a while. So this came out and it took me a month or so before I finally bought it because I knew I wanted to read it, but I just didn't like Lila. She gets better. So if you if you had any reservations about Lila in the first 2 books, this is worth reading. Lila, one, you understand a little bit more about why she is the way she is. 2, she kind of gets over herself. And what I like is that the main issues I have with Lila, which is that she's just like reckless and doesn't think. And it always seems to work out for her. She's one of those people, and we've all known them in real life. It's not like she's unrealistic, but like they go and they do these stupid things, but then like everything turns out roses. And you're like, if I had done that, I would be dead. That's how that would have worked out for me, or in jail or whatever. And so she's just used to it always working out. And that's what drives Garcia crazy, because he doesn't like seeing her putting herself at risk without really understanding that that's what she's doing. So it does create some really good tension between them. And she is better. Because you understand a little bit more about why she is the way she is.
Because you get in her head, right?
I'm sorry?
Because you get in her head.
Because you get in her head. You're not just watching her be reckless and stupid. So and it's also fun because Garcia is like too far. He's very risk averse. So you've got the two extreme ends, and what they need to do is be in the middle, and they do eventually learn to help each other moderate. So which is always nice. It was a great conclusion to the series. It was good. With trad books, I often ask myself, am I glad I paid the trad price for this ebook? And I am. So, because it's still sometimes hard to swallow $14.99 for an ebook. But I would do it again.
Try $20-something in Australia.
Sure. I'm sure. So, really good, solid series, recommended highly. And I'm going to be looking forward to whatever Natalie does next.
Cool.
So, and not so suspensey. I don't think it'll keep you up late at night. If you can watch NCIS on TV, you could read this book.
I need to read this series. It sounds really good. And I think I have at least the first book, maybe the second one in my, we don't talk about how long it is, TBR list.
Right. No, we don't
say, I've got like 80, 90 some books.
Yeah. No.
And I add like, like 3 or 4 a week. And I'm like, really? Oh, but that looks good. One clip.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Valerie, what's your number 2?
Hope you all are doing that too, readers.
Yep.
The second one I have read and talked about several books before by Emily Dana Boutros. And this one is called With Love, Melody. And it's the first book in a different series than the one I've talked about before. So this is a friends to more romance with a hint of mistaken identity or possibly the you've got mail type thing.
Okay.
PJ and Melody have been friends since junior high, but he really has no clue how to break down Melody's walls and show her how much he loves her. He's always loved her, right? And then his sister has this bright idea of setting them up on a dating app. And so he knows he's talking to Melody, but Melody thinks she's talking to a guy called Jeremy, TJ.
Okay.
So she's soon telling Jeremy all kinds of things about her upbringing that she had hidden from TJ and from literally absolutely everyone else in her life. Now he can't figure out how to reveal it's him without
yeah.
Like, because now he knows all this stuff that she's never trusted him with.
Right.
So
yeah.
Very, very awkward.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this is another story that deserves a trigger warning. Apparently, I've been on a roll the last few weeks with those. This one would be for parental abuse, childhood trauma. So if those are specific things that are going to be triggering, then this one you might want to pass. But I thought she pulled it together really well, and she didn't simplify Melody's journey at all, but there were some really hard scenes, and it's not going to be one of those things where and they lived happily ever after,
Sure.
Let's throw a bouquet of roses and we'll all be good. So it wasn't oversimplified, it wasn't trite, but I think it was really well done, and I'm looking forward to seeing them again in the next books, which are TJ's siblings. So I'm sure this is going to show back up again.
Yeah.
But Emily's a solid writer. You guys should read her.
Sounds fun. That sounds really fun.
So it does sound interesting. With the trigger warning, what type of abuse are we talking about? Because there is different types of parental abuse, or is that a spoiler that would ruin the story?
It might be, but I mean, it's beyond neglect.
Okay.
There's narcissism and
so emotional abuse.
It's very more emotional, I think, than than physical. It's been a few weeks since I read it, I'll be honest.
Okay.
And I've read probably, I don't know, 18 books since then, possibly. It feels like it.
Yeah.
But there is a hard journey in there with her mother.
Okay.
So so fair warning, but it's good.
Okay.
It's good. Jesus shines through. Like there
That's the
is
best
hope
part.
in dark,
Yeah.
there's hope in dark places, right?
Yeah.
And we and our readers can possibly come from places that are dark and maybe we don't always feel seen.
Yeah.
So maybe it's cathartic and maybe it's triggering. I don't know for you, right? But have a look and see if you think it would be a read that fits what you'd like to, how you'd like to delve into a topic like that.
Yeah, and they're important books as well.
Yeah,
they really are.
Yeah.
Because life isn't all just sunshine and roses and unicorns and rainbows.
Right. Yeah.
Skipping through the daisies. Darn, anyway, although, those don't make that great of books, really.
Right. All right, Narelle, what you got?
Well, I'm going to go to light and breezy and fun. No trigger warnings needed for this book. And I'm going to talk about Plan B by Erin Stevenson. So this is book one in her St. Clair family series. And it's set on a Caribbean island, pretty much. They're based out of St. Louis in Missouri, but we end up on a beautiful tropical island. So it's just, if you're looking for that amazing sort of beach read escape with a fun story that will have a smile on your face, then this is your book. So Kelsey is a pet sitter in St. Louis, and she's a jilted bride who paid for her own honeymoon. So she decides that she's not going to waste this money she spent on her honeymoon. She's going to go and do it alone. Now, not only do we have a jilted bride, we have a jilted groom. So Landon is he's a lawyer. He's a partner in a firm in St. Louis, and he was jilted somehow. I don't know how he got jilted. I think she was slightly crazy, his former fiance, but anyway, he was jilted.
So adorable. Yeah.
Yes. And so he's on a solo trip to the Caribbean as well. Now, there's a bit of a catch with this because this all sounds fine. Like you can just go on holidays in the Caribbean and have a lovely time, except they're going to a honeymoon island. And so it's for honeymooners, not just for anybody. And so is this lovely older couple, and I wrote their note. They've been married for 53 years, and they basically bought this island when they won the lottery, and it's basically designed as a honeymoon island. So, of course, when Landon and Kelsey turn up, guess what? They are the only singles on the island that are staying there. So there's just so much fun that happens with this story. They get paired together. There's possibly a bit of insta love because, I mean, we are in a vacation romance setting. So things will happen a bit faster than may happen in a normal timeframe book. But I mean, that's all, as far as I'm concerned, that's a lot of the fun relates to the fact that it's the close proximity in this gorgeous romantic setting where they're meant to be blissfully happy, and they've both got some pretty deep emotional wounds that are being licked and trying to be healed at the same time. So it was just a lot of fun, and it was just a lovely book to read if you're looking for that sort of nice, fun escape from real life. In the sun.
It was a fun read. I picked that up in a box set of, I think, the first 3 in that series, and enjoyed all. And Plan B, right? Because their plan A was to marry whoever they were going to marry.
Yeah.
So here we are, jilted, dueled, and here, what does Plan B look like? So and that older couple who run the island. Yeah.
I read that one.
Really a piece of work.
Yeah. I read that one earlier in the spring because I had thought we were going to do another episode on beaches or something, and then Valerie was like, we just did a beach episode. I'm like, oh, just kidding, not doing a beach episode again.
Next summer we can do a beach reads episode. I love beach reads.
So
and that one was fun though.
It was cute.
It's a little bit reminiscent of, now I'm putting my foot in it. There was a whole series of novellas put out a few years ago about
with the tropical orange
matchmaker island retreat thing. Krista Phillips
and Krista Phillips were in there. Yeah, that was a cute one.
Yeah, so I kind of was primed and ready for another Caribbean type island where people are setting you up totally.
Yeah.
So,
All right, well, we're gonna go with my second one from the Caribbean over to Alaska.
not the same thing at all.
Slight change in plan.
I have my scarf. It's winter in Australia. I'm there.
And this I read Wild About Denali by Sara Blackard. It is not romantic suspense, which is what I tend to associate her with. But this is not. It's got a rom-com-y cover, which might just be because it feels like everybody's doing the drawn people covers, even if they're not rom-coms anymore now. But anyway, it's a drawn people cover. So I'm like, is it a rom-com? I don't know. For me, I don't consider it a rom-com, but I can be a tough sell, like on things that people think are rom-com-y. It didn't have the pratfalls and stuff that are popular in rom-coms, in which case A+. But anyway, there were amusing moments, but I was not holding my sides, gasping for air.
When's the last time that happened?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, but it is just sweet. There's zero faith at all in it, which was disappointing because the other books by her that I've read had such huge, really good faith arcs. And then this one is, I mean, there's a place for it. And we talked about that in our, intro guide, but I was expecting, because it's Sara, for there to be a pretty solid faith arc, and there is not one. It's sort of, it is a wildlife rescuer. Think like the Crocodile Hunter, or at this point, maybe his son.
Yes.
And he is filming the last episode of his show, and he's planning to step back from the filming and just open a wildlife rehabilitation center in Alaska. But he is working with Denali, is the name of the woman, and also a place in Alaska. And I don't think it's set in Denali in Alaska, but anyway, Denali is also the name of the girl. She runs a dog rescue / training facility, and they're the last stop on his thing. But he also talks his producer into doing like a short series on their work at the animal rescue, which is good and bad for various reasons that are probably spoilery. So Denali is a single mom to I didn't write down his age. He's probably 8 or 9. He is one of the smarter than average precocious kids, who also conveniently is into wildlife rescue. So he has a little menagerie in their backyard of various animals that he is in the process of nursing back to health. So he bonds immediately with the dude whose name I didn't write down.
Hate when that happens.
And so it's really cute though, because one of the things that I liked, what she did, is that since he's moving to Alaska, like he was very clear the whole time. He's like, I'm not interested in you because of your kid. He said, and effectively, if things don't work out with us, I hope you'll let me still be around your kid because I love your kid. We're friends in a not squeaky grown person with kid friendship, but like a good, like he's interesting. We're interested in the same things. I hope you won't take me out of the equation if we don't work out, which I appreciated, because like I always think it's sad when kids lose out on that influence of someone
right.
who gets them if a relationship doesn't fail. So it was good. A little bit of hate to love vibe, single mom vibes. It's Alaska, which I always love. It was cute.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does that mean if it's Alaska and it's cold that there's no snakes in the wildlife? Because that's the first thing I always think of with wildlife sanctuaries is snakes. I don't know why that goes to my head straight away.
I believe that I remember reading that there are not snakes native to Alaska because it is never really warm enough for them to be happy. But I could be wrong. I I don't know, but I
just assumed because
Yeah.
you don't like, I know that you and snakes belong on the
We're
opposite
not
sides of the
friends.
world.
Yeah.
So
We're
I
not
figured
friends.
for you to be talking about a wildlife sanctuary, I'm thinking
Yeah.
I think you'd have trouble doing that in Australia.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is like bald eagles and moose
Yeah.
and, you know,
Grizzly bears.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Grizzly bear. There is actually a bear in this story. So if you want to read about a bear, there's a bear.
Yes. Oh, okay. Is this one categorized as CCR? Was
No.
it categorized as clean and wholesome?
It's just clean
Yeah.
and wholesome.
Yeah.
So, but
it sounds good.
Yeah, it was really cute. It was cute. And there's a whole series. It's the Denali has 2 other sisters. So I haven't gotten to those yet.
Also named for mountains in Alaska?
No, but they did have weird names, but not mountains. They were not names that I would have named my children, but they had unique names. I guess I should say, not weird, but all right, Valerie, what is your last one?
I recently read Hometown Promise by Merrillee Whren. It's the first book in her Kellersburg series, which is about the Keller family who founded Kellersburg. Julianne is in the process of taking over the family retail business from her alcoholic father.
Ooh.
Now, nobody is admitting that he has an alcohol problem. They are just kind of covering it up, kind of easing aside, like whatever. But they know, the family knows. Probably other people know, but nobody talks about it. So Lucas moves to town. He joins the choir and he's cast opposite her in the winter play. Now, problem is they were in the same drama program back in college, and he was often drunk and once came on to her rather strongly and rudely while drunk. And he doesn't remember that.
Yeah.
But she
double
does.
oops.
Yeah.
Big oops.
So he doesn't know
Yeah.
why this woman he just met hates him so much. But she doesn't think, how could he possibly have changed? Like, why is he in church? Why is he like in the play? Why is he like, why doesn't he just go back?
Why is lightning not striking him if he's in the church?
Yeah,
exactly. So how can she believe that he's changed, even though after time goes on, it truly seems like he has changed? Because after all, her father has never conquered his addiction. So how could Lucas?
Anyone? Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess today it's 3 for 3 for trigger warnings.
Mm-hmm.
So
Valerie's been doing the heavy reading.
Yes.
And it wasn't really heavy, and yet, if alcohol stuff is a trigger for you, if seeing people struggling with addiction is a trigger for you, then this might be one you want to pass with. But see, I have a variety of trigger warnings today, right? They're not all the same. I thought the topic was handled well. The romance was believable. It's in the story, it's been 6 years since Lucas quit drinking.
Okay.
And his arc on that is backstory, but it's believable, at least to me. Somebody maybe who's right into that may see flaws in it, I don't know, but to me it seemed believable and enough in the past that that I could let him start here.
Yeah. How old is he in the book?
I do not remember that.
Because if he was mid-20s or even late 20s and it's 6 years,
Yeah.
then he's pretty much an average bloke in many respects. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
He went.
Yeah.
I'm guessing if it's been 6 years since he came clean and they knew each other in college, yeah, he's probably late 20s. I don't remember specifically, but I'm guessing it would be about in their 30 tops.
Yeah. So it's probably the issues with her father and the alcohol addiction not being addressed is probably the trigger in this really particular situation. Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course that all does play into the story as it goes down along. But at first he's just like, she's a nice girl, she's pretty, she's she's in the church, she's great, should get to know her, and she's just like, and he has no idea, like, what did I do, right? So well, he did. But so yeah, that was that's my third for today.
All right.
Sounds like a good one.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Merrillee,
Yeah.
I think, does well with. She's another one. I've just been really getting into her books. Not a lot, but some. Because she has tons. But she
Yes.
is good at putting in those deeper issues without making them heavy.
Yeah.
Addressing them thoroughly, but they're not like. You're not at the end of the book going, oh, because
Yeah.
there's still a light, happy story. It's not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. She does tackle some. She's not what you would call like fluffy read.
No.
There's depth.
Yeah.
But Jesus shines through.
Yeah.
Loud and clear in her. Can you shine loud and clear? Well, anyway.
Absolutely. Jesus.
I've been reading Merrillee. It must be 20 years. I'm certain because she started writing for Love Inspired back in the early days.
Yeah.
And
So I think I've been reading,
some of her books are reprints of her old ones, like reissued. And she's also been writing some new stuff in the last few years, so it's a mix. But she does have quite a few books out. So if you're one who likes to really
go through an author's
backlist, boy, I tell you, Merrillee's got a backlist for you.
yes.
Yes, she does.
And a good backlist. Yeah.
And there's a lot of variety in settings. She has some. This is, I want to say, Iowa, Ohio, somewhere in there. All the vowels somewhere in there. She has some in Montana. She has some in Connecticut. She has some in Florida. She's got
all over
Nebraska.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for something like that, she's got it. Probably got it.
Yep. Cool. We would love to know what you have been reading lately. Tell us in the comments. And also our back to school kickoff, back to school giveaway kickoff is on Monday. So if you are not a regular Inspi Romance blog reader, inspiromance.com, now's a great time to start. So we're going to kick off the fantastic giveaway for the next month. Starting Monday, every comment on every blog post is an entry. There's paperbacks, ebooks, and some fun swag up for grabs. So we hope you'll join us over there and then stick around even when we're not doing a big giveaway, because we're fun.
We are. We're amazing. If you like the show, then you'll love us even more over there.
Yes.
Or at least almost as much or something.
Yeah, something.
And you may even find some of the books we've been talking about are actually in the giveaway.
Right? You might find that.
I think you will.
Probably, more than likely.
I think that Emily Dana Botress's is.
Oh,
with Love Melody. Pretty sure.
I think you're right. So thank you for joining us today at Story Chats. Don't forget to leave a comment over on YouTube or on the Facebook page. Let us know what you thought, what you've been reading. We will look forward to seeing you again next week. In the meantime, don't forget to fall in love with a good book. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.